Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk about how APE currently has more than 400% short interest, or more than 4 times the float currently shorted. I want to talk about how this actually happened and how the SEC is actually looking into it. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And I want to dive straight in with the key information. So Alan tweeted saying, so let me get this right. If these figures are correct, that shows a small 2.4 billion shares sold short. So Yahoo is currently reporting that APE has a whopping 481.14% short interest, or a short percentage of shares outstanding as of August 31st, 2022. Now you may say, Tom, surely this is just another data glitch, but don't forget in many of my recent videos I've touched on this Yahoo Data, which is updated daily but yet doesn't change. The Yahoo website actually updated the figures to be reported on August 30th and not August 31st, but is still showing that 481% short interest. Therefore, Yahoo clearly reviewed these figures for the 481% and said, yep, it is definitely 481% shorted, but actually we got the date wrong. It's the data from August the 30th and not August the 31st. Yahoo is obviously reviewing all of this data daily, whether it's the market capitalization, whether it's the shares outstanding, or the short interest or short percent of the shares outstanding. But yet they see no problems with the data they're presenting. As I said in my previous video, there's currently so many different data points, whether it's from Fidelity, whether it's from Webull, whether it's from Yahoo, everybody is showing something different. These brokers or these data providers clearly don't know whether to present the true data or the manipulated data. But APE currently having a short interest of 481% or having 2.4 billion shares sold short does actually make sense, as I've always suspected the true number of AMC synthetics is somewhere around 2 billion shares. 2 billion AMC synthetics plus the original float of 516 million would make 2.5 billion AMC shares, with a similar short interest on APE showing 2.487 billion APE shares sold short. I believe Yahoo likely is reporting the real data for AMC, the real number of shares actually shorted, which is around 2.5 billion. We've speculated since last year that at least 2 billion AMC synthetics actually exist, and this data just seems to be proving that. But I am personally very excited to see what actually happens with the FTD numbers for APE when they're released over the coming few weeks, to see just how many APEs failed to deliver on the first few days of trading. But I do also want to remind you that this data is still self-reported, and therefore many of these hedge funds, market makers and brokers could lie on the true number of FTDs they actually incurred. However, I do still expect these FTDs to be significant in the hundreds of millions, if not then at least the tens of millions. On top of this, Dominic tweeted saying, FYI, the first ETFs currently holding APE shares are now listed on Morningstar. He said since there's no filings of this type as of yet, I believe this data is pulled by Morningstar directly from the ETF providers. Now I think firstly, as an important note, this isn't these single stock inverse ETFs currently shorting AMC, this is just regular ETFs that are currently containing APE. However, while these are regular ETFs, these ETFs can definitely still be shorted, and many hedge funds can still fail to deliver on these ETFs. On top of that, the FTDs and the short interest on these ETFs isn't very well regulated by the SEC or by anyone really. Many of the ETFs currently containing GameStop often have a 500% short interest or a 300% short interest, significantly higher than those legally disclosed 20 or 30% short interests. This is legal short interest generally being disclosed on these ETFs that often ranges from 300% to if not 500%, if not even larger. And it has been speculated that for some time many of these ETFs containing GameStop and containing AMC and now containing APE have been used to indirectly push the price down of these meme stocks. For example, if you short the ETF but then buy the underlying stocks inside that ETF, the ETF sheds its weighting in the stock that you're shorting, thereby selling off AMC shares, thereby pushing the price down. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to sign up to Moomoo right now using the link in the description below. Moomoo is currently giving away 13 free shares, which is the most free shares that Moomoo has ever given away, up to a whopping total of $26,000. As you can see, Moomoo is very easy to use, it's incredibly customizable, they've got tons of technical indicators and advanced charting tools. From Moomoo's latest customer agreement, they officially state they do not sell your order flow to market makers like Citadel. Therefore, Moomoo is brilliant for buying those AMC, those APE and those GameStop shares. But what really interests me about this data is this column here for percent of total APE shares currently held by these ETFs. We can see the total for the top 20 ETFs suggests these ETFs are currently holding 10.85% of the APE float. But as I spoke about in my video yesterday, and as I've touched on earlier, Fidelity is showing that 100% of the APE float is currently held by retail investors. So how can 100% of the float be held by retail and 10% be held by ETFs? And surely there's got to be some shares, if not hundreds of millions of shares of APE currently held by institutions. The obvious answer being is that there's not just 516 million shares of APE and 516 million shares of AMC. There's obviously multiple billions of shares circulating out there right now when you include all of the synthetics that have been created. And this is likely caused by a number of these major banks failing to report over-the-counter options trades and failing to report short sales. As Unusual Wells tweeted, he said, "This is wild. Bank of America failed to report over-the-counter options trades approximately 7.42 million times. So that's potentially 7.42 million put options taken out against AMC to hide these synthetic shares that went completely unreported." It said the failures occurred from 2009 up to October of 2020 and included 26 options positions that exceeded applicable size limits by 20% to 2,900%. aka some of these hedge fund customers took out options trades that exceeded their size limits or exceeded their authorized amounts by 2,900%. That's crazy that Bank of America can allow some of these hedge fund clients to take out options trades 29 or 30 times the size of their overall account and not bat an eyelid. That's like me having $10,000 in my trading account, but asking my broker to open up $300,000 worth of call options for AMC and them not batting an eyelid. But as Unusual Wells said, the crazy thing is they only paid $5 million in actual fines. Obviously this fine is only a small speed bump in their road to profit making, but it does go to show just how easily many of these AMC synthetics could have been created and hidden. And as Hang Loose tweeted, he said, breaking news. Credit Suisse, who still holds the Archegos bags on GameStop, was found guilty on failing to report 15.9 million trades of short sales in order to manipulate short interest across the market. Credit Suisse was only fined $200,000 for failing to report 15.9 million short sale transactions or failing to report 15.9 million trades as short sales. But AMC Bull tweeted this screenshot from Probe's reporter showing the SEC investigation updates as of August 31st, 2022. It shows the SEC is currently investigating AMC Entertainment, and as AMC Bull said, no other meme stocks are currently on that list. Therefore, the SEC is indeed investigating these short sales and this manipulative practice against AMC, and I do hope the SEC actually provides a proper investigation. Now, maybe I'm living in fantasy land for hoping the SEC actually investigates the manipulative short selling on AMC, but I guess the best we can do is just hope for the SEC to actually do their job until the squeeze happens or until the market crash occurs. And as Alexander tweeted, he said the short seller investigation continues, and this is the next volley or the latest wave of related subpoenas. Authorities are now looking for evidence against activist firms sought to exacerbate stock drops and otherwise manipulate markets, potentially through a variety of strategies. Now, as Alexander tweeted, many of these hedge funds have indeed been dropping the price of stocks to manipulate markets, potentially through a different variety of strategies. Obviously, as I touched on earlier in the video, some strategies that they use to manipulate the markets is incurring FTDs or simply failing to report trades. Now, these obviously go hand in hand and have been a massive perpetrator on the short selling attack against AMC, GameStop and APE, but at least the Department of Justice is now finally investigating. This may end up potentially like CMKM Diamonds, where the SEC, the Department of Justice, Homeland Security and maybe even the FBI actually orchestrate a plan to trap the shorts and cause the squeeze. This way they can get rid of a number of bad actors in the market, they can make arrests, and they can still repay the money to retail investors that have lost money over all of these years. Obviously, by causing the short squeeze, many retail investors will receive back the money they've lost and will make millions. Clearly, this is the next step in the Department of Justice investigation into these short sellers, which should hopefully see many of these large funds and many of these large market makers receiving repercussions for their manipulative short selling. Hopefully we will see some large high-up employees going to jail, and this will likely cause the AMC squeeze. But guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.